We recently sold our little starter home in the neighborhood and moved our family of 5 to our forever home and property. There are so many features of this place that we have just fallen in love with, but it's definitely a bit of a fixer-upper. So we've spent the last 6 months renovating and updating certain areas that need it the most. We've tackled big projects as well as smaller ones, and today we're working on giving our pantry room a much needed makeover. But it's not all about looks. Our biggest priority for any space we update is functionality and practicality. We feel most at home in a space that functions for our busy family and works symbiotically with our plans for a more economical and sustainable household and homestead. And that's exactly what we're focusing on for this renovation. So join us as we tackle our pantry project and take another step on this journey of taking this place from house to home.
Welcome to my pantry, which also happens to be our full laundry room, which also is our utility closet. There's a lot going on in this room, but today we are specifically focusing on the food storage, the pantry function of this space, because it is so dysfunctional right now. So this is what we are working with here in the pantry. As you can see, the organization that I did several months ago is actually holding up. It's still very useful, but back when I filmed that video, I said this system, this unit here is not going to last very long. I knew that it wasn't the most functional option. I was just doing with what I had. We're gonna be taking everything off these shelves to start out with. We're gonna be moving this unit out of here. We could probably use it for storage in the garage. We have really tall ceilings in here, so there is definitely some vertical storage potential that we're gonna be taking advantage of as we give this space a little makeover. This spot over here, this was built for a second fridge, which is actually probably what we are going to be putting here instead of having this utility shelf. And we are doing this all DIY. So I'm gonna roll up my sleeves. The first step here is to get everything out of here. I have a table set up right there in the living room that I'm going to be putting everything on top of. And while I'm working on that, let's have a little chat about our philosophy and our method for long-term food storage.
So for our family, for storing extra food, so this is non-perishables like dry goods, canned goods, grains, and other things like that that have a really long shelf life and makes sense to have a little bit extra on hand. We have always tried to prioritize in our monthly grocery budget to use part of that to add extra to our stock. And now I know when people say stock or extra or like food storage, stocking up, that can sometimes have negative connotations, and we conjure up these images of people hoarding and panic buying and wiping the store shelves clean and not sharing with their neighbors. That is not what's going on here at all. In fact, we have actually been able to share our abundance during the pandemic when store shelves were being wiped clean from panic buying. We were able to share with friends and neighbors, and that was a blessing to us because we have worked to build this up little by little. It's never been a crazy go out and buy a bunch of stuff. It's always been, you know, a little extra here and there. And it's really served us well, especially in times when we can't get out to the grocery store. Like when I've been postpartum or when I've dealt with chronic illness or during the pandemic when things were really, really crazy. We had our own little home store of extra canned goods and non-perishables and dry goods that we could shop from and feed our family. It's really, really served us well. And especially now as we're living in this house, this new place is definitely farther away. It's a longer drive for us to get to grocery stores, so we have to plan bigger trips for our grocery shopping than before. And with skyrocketing gas prices, we want to be reducing the amount of trips we're taking. So we just want to adopt more of a homesteading mindset, more of a sustainable mindset when it comes to feeding our family and stocking our pantry. And so that is why we are focusing on really getting this space in order so that we can have it really work well for us.
Okay, I've gotten everything off except for what's at the very bottom. Moving forward, I think I'm still gonna keep these mason jars for some of our dry goods storage, but these glass crocks, as pretty as they are, I have discovered that in this new house, and maybe it's just because it's coinciding with a different season of life for my kids getting older, but they are just kind of clunky. They're really loud to get in and out of because they're glass, like they clunk all the time, and these lids chip really easily. So I think we are now to a point where we're moving away from this glass storage for the larger quantity of dry goods. I have an alternative that I think is going to work out better for us, but like I said, these mason jars, we're probably just going to keep it this way because if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? But we're going to move the rest of this stuff out of here, and by the time we're done with that, Weston should be here to help me move this unit out of this spot.
There's a place I have found in the shade on the ground, far from all worries and troubling sound. When I go there to be by myself, only me, no one can guess what I came there to see.
Okay, so I have everything out here now. I have stuff in their respective macro categories just to make it a bit easier for me to put stuff back into the pantry once I have the new shelving in there. So this is gonna stay here, and I actually just tried to move this thing a little bit, and it is surprisingly, actually not surprisingly because it's actually a really cheapy sort of piece of furniture, but it's really light. So I'm going to attempt to get this out of here myself, if I can. I'm gonna try to be careful.
There's a sun in the sky, there's a cloud drifting by, all kinds of birds make you wish you could fly, and in the distance I see someone waving at me. I hope that it's you, but who else could it be?
I did it! Wow. I got it that far. It went down the steps. I didn't break anything or pull anything in the process. I guess maybe we'll find that out tomorrow. But I got it out here. It's not raining, so I guess we can wait until Weston comes home to take it out the rest of the way. And now it actually looks like a good sized pantry in here.
Hello, hello, it's the next day. I got interrupted yesterday. Hashtag mom life. I'm still so naive. I think things are gonna take 1 or 2 days, and 3 weeks later, I don't think it's gonna take me 3 weeks to get this done, but I am ready to start building some shelves in here. So this is what we chose after we did a lot of research, read lots of blog posts, did lots of Pinteresting and YouTubing to get some inspiration. So this is the Rubbermaid brand. It's their fast track system. And basically these tracks, this is just leaning against the wall, it's not installed. They will go on the studs of the wall, and then you add brackets that hook into those little holes there, and then you add shelves on top of the brackets. These out here, these are the tracks, those are the brackets, and these are the shelves. And I compared the price if I was going to buy the wood and paint and spend the time making these shelves, and even if I did it like fully DIY, it was actually, like, with the price of lumber right now, it came out to being more expensive than if I just bought the pre-made Rubbermaid shelf pieces that go onto the brackets. So that's what we opted for this time, but someday in the future when you're watching this, it might be more economical to make your own shelves. This time around, in this season, in this economy that we're in, these are actually the cheaper route. So I'm gonna start finding some studs here in the laundry room. I've got a little magnetic stud finder that works pretty well. And I'm gonna start hanging these tracks on the wall. There's one. Other one should be around here. Oh, there it is, wow. There should be one around here. Oh, look at that. I'm good.
Why
bye.
Bye-bye.
He's off to church youth group tonight, and I'm gonna do my best to get the shelves up, but he's quickly making some cuts for me on them. I've measured what I need. I'm not gonna get all fancy with mitered, like angled corner cuts. We're just making them butt up against each other like this. Measure twice, cut once, and still get it wrong when you have a house that isn't built square. You can see this wall is tighter here and it's wider there, but it's wider on the base than it is at the ceiling. There are so many inconsistencies here, and when you're working in a corner, those can definitely show up, but I'm really happy with how this turned out. I have to tack that little corner down. That's popping up a bit, and I have to dust it off, but I think I'm ready to start getting some food in here. Who are in the thick of it with babies and toddlers, let this be an encouragement to you. It gets easier. In fact, it even gets to the point where your youngest child is old enough to actually be of help. Haley's running back and forth from what I've got in the living room and bringing me stuff. She was helping me with the canned goods down here, helping me bring them up to here, really reducing the amount of bending and lifting and running and steps I had to take. Haley, you're so helpful. Thank you. The mental work that is going into this project is something else. The pantry is always one of those places because there's so many different things. There's so many different sizes of things. It's a challenge. It always kind of takes me by surprise, but I feel like I'm in a good place here. This half of the room is looking great. This half of the room is looking like an absolute disaster. I'm not done yet, but I'm to the point now where I need to start like cleaning up the mess around me before I can proceed, because when the space is like crazy like this, I have a hard time knowing what I need to do next. So I'm gonna give you a little tour of what's going on right now. Keep in mind that this is gonna flex and it's gonna change. I already have some changes in mind, but this is where we are. This is where we've landed. So I have one box on the top shelf, and I'm thinking that this will be a place for like the boxed things that we will grab from to stock the lower shelves, kind of like they do at the store. I've got canned goods down here at the bottom, pasta section. I have things kind of in their loose categories. I'm gonna have like snacks and stuff here. I've got sort of a breakfast section. We have our oils and vinegars and syrup. We've got peanut butter, bread and tortillas right here. We have sort of a little coffee and drink section, and then this is kind of like a little baking shelf. Yes, I realize that looks like an excessive amount of sparkling cider, but in one Christmas Eve, our family went through 15 bottles of sparkling cider. So this is literally one night's worth for us when we have family over, and I happen to find some on sale. That's the other nice thing about this having a pantry that's well stocked is if you find something on sale, like I found some of these pasta boxes at Target for 50 cents a box. That is unheard of. That's prices like back when I was a kid. And so I stocked up on a few. I am not into wiping the stores clean or taking anything away from anyone else. I'm not a hoarder, but I love me a good deal. And when I find stuff on sale, having a space to be able to put it into is definitely something that I'm so, so grateful for. So I'm liking the way this is all laid out. It's nice to be able to see everything laid out in front of me instead of that really deep cabinet that we had for the what was in here originally.
because stuff would just get lost behind other things, those big bins of stuff. I would just throw stuff in there and I wouldn't really know what my stock and what my inventory is. And now I can just see it all in front of me. So as I'm cleaning up through here and rearranging stuff, I remembered that I am going to change up our potato and onion storage. So you guys might remember this old wire basket drawer thing. I thrifted this years ago and it has seen better days. It is so wobbly and wiggly. The drawers hardly slide in and out anymore. So we need something different. I found these at Target. They're actually called potato bins, but I think people use them for home decor. I'm not sure. So I originally put it right here, but then I remembered that you want as little sunlight on potatoes, especially, as possible because they'll turn green. And so I thought if I tucked them under here in this corner, they would be as shielded as possible. We do go through our potatoes and onions pretty quickly, so it's usually not an issue for us. We even store them together, but I found these and I thought that this might be a good solution. So I'm gonna put this over here and get our potatoes and onions transferred into them. There, those are looking cozy. It looks like we need to buy more onions. Day 4 of this project, and I'm finally feeling like there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Organizing a pantry is so overwhelming, but I feel like I've got a good handle on things. Let me show you what I did since I last picked up the camera. Added these shelves over here on this side. I just used some of the strips and shelves that I already had. The only thing that I had to buy more of were these brackets. My store only had the gray ones, but that is okay. I don't even feel like I really notice. Since this shelf doesn't go all the way to this strip, I added a couple of these brackets here into these studs, so that has some reinforcement. I also added this little block underneath this edge right here just for some more reinforcement. And those of you who have seen my videos before, like DIY videos, you know that I keep using lumber from a bed that we disassembled years ago, and that is, yep, that's a bed piece right there. I'm all about using what you have before you go out and buy something new. So the only things that I have left over when it comes to the shelf building are a couple of 2-foot strips for the wall, and then these 2 shelves. And that's it. So I really made good use of what I purchased. And speaking of purchase, I found a fridge for this space. We were going to do this, like go shop them around when Weston was home, because we're gonna take his truck and we'd load it in and all of that. But I was doing some shopping online and I found a scratch and dent, like open box LG fridge, which we don't need it to be fancy. We don't need it to be LG. We love LG appliances, but we were totally willing to get some old Frigidaire, Kenmore, you know, whatever, just to put in this space, just to have that extra fridge space. But I found an LG one at a Best Buy outlet. It's pretty far away. I ordered it because it would still be worth it to go get because the price was great. And then it was out of stock, which is a bummer. And then I called our Lowe's store, which is still a drive, but not as far as the one that they had at Best Buy. Everything's a drive from where we live, which is why we're stocking our pantry so that we don't have to go to the grocery store as much. Anyway, called the Lowe's store. They had the same model in stock, which is apparently a really hard model to find. Everyone wants it. They have one. They're holding it for me. And the appliance specialist at Lowe's said he would match the price for me of the scratch and dent one that I found at Best Buy. So we're saving gas, we're saving time, we're saving money. We're gonna head out the door and go get it. I'm gonna take all 3 kids and Weston's truck. He's at work right now. I've got straps, I've got everything to go get it. They're gonna help me load it in. And we just found ourselves a fridge. I'm so excited. We are home. We got the fridge here. It felt a bit like Toad's Wild Ride, I'm gonna be honest, but I drove super carefully. We got it strapped in. We're fine. We made it home in one piece. The fridge is here, and thankfully it is not a rainy day, so it's gonna stay outside until Weston gets home, and then we're gonna bring it into this room. I've got this space to clear so that we can get the fridge in it. I have cleaning supplies, broom and mop hook thing. Got kids playing outside, and I just have to clear all of this off. That's why I built these shelves here, so that I could store all of like the extra cleaning supplies and stuff that we have. We're gonna have to find a new place for our tools, but that's okay because we were already outgrowing this little system that I had anyway with all of the renovations and the new tools that we bought for the projects that we're working on. So I'm gonna take some time to clear off this shelf, and the goal is to get this spot ready for the new fridge to go in once Weston gets home. I have a few hours, so let's do it.
Oh, it looks so close when I close my eyes. So I burn the map, I ignore the signs, but feeling far away. 2 years in a couple of days. I just wave my hand to the world outside like it's all okay. I can't believe what my eyes have seen. I just woke up from a broken dream. Who can stop my hands from shaking? I need you to take them, and I don't wanna wait all night.
Got this done with time to spare. Weston just walked through the front door. I'm gonna get the new fridge in.
Let's be right. Will you sit with me? Bring your little light. I've been down so long, I can't trust my sight. I'm sick of being so tired, and I can't keep avoiding the cure. It feels like my heart's gonna die if I don't run out this door. I can't believe what my eyes have seen. I just woke up in a broken dream. Who can stop my hands from shaking? I need you to take them. I'm burning down the house tonight. I'm coming alive, and my senses are a little demented. I saw the light.
So over the last decade, I have done many home organization projects, but I can say without reservation that this room, this pantry makeover, has been my favorite. The results have been phenomenal. It's holding up so well in here. I'm gonna give you a tour of everything, just show you what we've got going on, but I just had to share like how amazing this has held up. So I started this project 2 weeks ago today, and within like 3 or 4 days, any organizational flaws in a space that I've worked on really start to show. And yeah, I've gone in and straightened up a couple things here and there, but honestly, this system has been working amazing. And how funny is it that this is my favorite organization project, and it's probably the least Pinterest worthy out of anything that I've ever shared with you guys. I don't have any special boxes and bins, pretty little baskets, or special containers, or anything that looks like uniform and perfect for a magazine. This like no bin system, no basket system has been a game changer. And the function that this room has now and the practicality of this system has affected everything in the house. Grocery shopping, meal planning and prepping, feeding the kids, doing the cooking and the baking, getting the groceries into a place where they actually have a home and you can see everything, doing the inventory of the space. It's been amazing. So let me give you a tour of what it's looking like now. So stuff is much as we left it last time, with a couple of the gaps filled in a bit. Having everything laid out in front of me over the last couple of weeks has really shown me where I did have gaps in our inventory. So I saw that we only had one thing left of peanut butter, so I grabbed a 2-pack from Costco, grabbed some more chili and put it there, etc., etc. And then down here, this is this dry goods system that I didn't talk about too much while I was working on it, just because I actually changed my mind several times, and you would have watched me just like go back and forth and do a bunch of stuff that would have been a waste of your time. But let me show you the end result. So I have my bags of bulk oats, rice, flour. I also have some beans in this rice bin as well. I've got sugar in here. The plan isn't necessarily to open up these bins and get like our daily stuff out. If you remember the kitchen organization video that I posted last week, I showed you that corner sort of lazy Susan cabinet that we have in the kitchen where I keep my smaller daily bins, and I will refill those bins in the kitchen from the bulk stock that we have in this pantry. I had 2 of these from other storage that I was using in our old house, so I bought a 3rd because I needed one. And even though they're not pretty and they're not fancy, at least I got my Cricut labels on them, right? And I can clearly see what's in here. The kids can see what's in here. People who come over, who hang out, if we're cooking in the kitchen together, it's easy to have anyone come in here and grab exactly what we need. We've got some of our paper goods up here, and then we've got just, you know, kitchen garbage bags, stuff like that, and on into our cleaning supplies. Like daily stuff is on the bottom here. We've got this sort of emergency section, which has first aid kit, emergency radio, flashlight stuff if, you know, the power goes out or whatever, fire extinguisher, and then the emergency hot water shutoff is right behind there. And then I ended up hanging up this little broom holder, which honestly does not work very well. These things slip around and it's not the best, but we have it, so we're using it, and then when it completely dies or I find something better, I'll replace it. But for now, this is where it is. Got the mop bucket under there. Washer and dryer are here. Not much going on there, but eventually we would like to stack our washer and dryer and have sort of a workbench on the other side where we'd have like a rolling toolbox that we could bring out and have like our batteries charging for our power tools and stuff like that. But this wasn't a food storage project on this side of the room, so I'm gonna save that for another video and another project at another time. But swinging around to the star of the show, our new second fridge, which already has fingerprints on it. Look at that. Let's see whose fingerprints they are. Test that hand size. I would call that a Haley fingerprint. It has been awesome to have this second fridge in here. We actually, in our old house, had a second fridge out in the garage, and it was a great system for having like our fresh meats in there in a special little drawer, or like defrosting meats and stuff like that, defrosting frozen meals that I've made before. But now that our garage in this new house is quite the trek to the front yard to go get a random thing here and there, we knew that eventually we wanted to get a fridge for this space, and it's been working so well. This fridge is very not full right now, but we have like our extra veggies that I will take from and chop up and put into our veggie box, which I actually showed you guys in a cook with me video a few weeks ago. I don't want to store 5 dozen eggs in my kitchen fridge. I mean, I could if I wanted to, but I would rather leave room in there for other things. But buying this quantity of eggs from Costco is definitely the more economical way to go. That is before we get our own chickens, which is going to be a fun adventure coming up here soon. We also shop at Costco for stuff like yogurt, and they come in a big container that we would get a few from to stock into our kitchen fridge for like those grab and go times, but the rest of them really didn't fit in there with all the leftovers that we had in the fridge and the other fresh stuff. So having this second fridge really helps. Oh, and then here in the door we got mommy's La Colombe, is that how you pronounce it? Coffee stash. Got some extra butter up here because actually butter was on sale at Costco the other week, and so we stocked up a little bit. Stocking up can be such an amazing amazing tool for your family, for your household, for your finances, and in times of need for your family and friends around you, should there be some sort of crisis. I could sing the praises of stocking your pantry and stocking up and having extra on hand, but I feel like that, like, to go into all of those thoughts would be a video in and of itself. I will, in the description box, link a blog post for you guys that goes more in depth and shares like the benefits, the advantages, the virtues basically of having an extra storage of food on hand that is realistic for your family to consume before it would go bad. It's just, like I said before, been such a blessing to us, and I fully acknowledge the privilege and the blessing that we have in this situation of even being able to buy extra. And it's looked different over the years. When Weston and I were first starting out 10 years ago when we first got married, the extra that we were able to buy back then for just a household of 2, it looked different necessarily than the extra that we're able to do now with a bigger family and a bigger income. So I'm just saying that to take the pressure off you a little bit. You don't have to do the biggest version of a pantry stock. You don't have to be some crazy prepper or hoarder in order to make this happen. You can do it little by little with whatever extra makes sense for you, for your family, and where you're at. And right now, this is working out great for us, and I am so glad that I have my inventory right there in front of me. I know exactly what we have, what we may need, what we can share with others should a need arise. It's awesome. I'm so happy about this. Oh, I guess I forgot to show you this, our little grocery bag holder. If I shop in store, I bring my reusable grocery bags, which I actually have here on a hook. That's new. But when I do like a grocery order and they come in plastic bags, they are gonna end up in here. And this is actually something that we took out of that stand-up pantry that we demoed out of this house the first week that we moved in here. You guys might remember that. We found this inside that pantry, and I've been holding on to it because I knew it would eventually have a place in here. I actually originally came into this room to find some stuff to start preparing dinner, and then I ended up talking to you guys. I think I'm gonna do some madras lentils, coconut milk, chicken, some veggies, throw it in there, make some sort of stew thing. That's kind of what I'm in the mood for. So it's all right here in front of me. I'm gonna grab what I need and go start dinner. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Next week, I am sharing with you part 2 of our kitchen remodel, that like second part house to home episode where we put the finishing touches on the kitchen. We literally just put the final piece in the kitchen yesterday, and I'm so excited to share that video with you guys. So make sure you're subscribed and you have the bell button turned on so you don't miss the next video or videos coming out after that. Thank you so much for spending a little part of your day here with me on my channel, and I'll catch you later.
New story to tell, new sights, new scenes, new memories.